Jordi. So to start with, we're going to ask you to go back a little bit in time and reminisce a bit about your journey with your stuttering and your speech. And I wonder if you can share with us some of your earliest memories of stuttering.
So I have been thinking in this quite hard many times. And the truth is that I don't have memories of me stuttering below 12 years old. So it's a bit different from what I hear always, right? From what people used to say. But the interesting stuff is that I have videos from my parents who they record me when I was a little, and it was clear that I was stuttering when I was a child, when I was 6, 7, 8, 10 years old. So I read a book about mastering. Well, I think the book was called something like Mastering Blocking and Stuttering. It was a long time ago I read this book, and the author claims that stuttering was useful at some point in their lives. So this served a purpose. So I don't think that this is the case because there is enough research that shows that stuttering is something that happens in the brains in the way that they are programmed. But so that and therefore I think that I don't have any memories of myself stuttering because I think that no one cared that I stutter. And therefore, I have no memories. So I think that this is what happened because, I mean, my worst memories. I guess that many can relate to this, but I think the worst was when you were in the school, and sometimes I've been asked to answer something about the homeworks because we're supposed to do the homeworks, and I say that I didn't do the homeworks just to not to talk, right? Or what was very stressful also was when you were in the class and you were counting how many desks are away, so you know the paragraph that you need to read, and you are counting like the hours that are left. Like if you were in your dead penalty in a electric chair, right?
Right.
So that I think when I was like 12, 13 years old. But yeah, so the truth is I don't have any memories below that because no one cared, I think.
Okay. Very interesting. I want to come back to something you said there, but let me just say hello to the people that have joined us. It's good to see you guys here. I didn't actually introduce Jordi. I guess he's a man who doesn't need much introduction. You can see there above in the information about this room that he is the creator of BeneTalk, and I'll be asking him to explain a bit more about the history there, so we can learn more about that as well. Jordi is from Spain originally, but spent a long time living in the UK as well. So that's an interesting experience as well that if we have time, we will get onto. I just want to make everyone aware that I have some questions for Jordi that I'll be asking him, but we would also like to leave some time as well for people to ask questions from the audience. So if you do have any, try and keep them in mind, and I will invite you to ask Jordi just a bit later on. So Jordi, you said there that some of your earliest memories from school and I guess from the age of 12 onwards. How has your relationship with stuttering changed over the years from that point and then through your adolescence and into adulthood now?
So yes, I guess that my story is not too different, no, from many people. but if we go into specifics, so I think I look for speech therapies every 4 years. So I usually stop the support after the summer holidays. I'm talking about from 12, 14 years onwards, right? Every 4 years looking for a speech therapist. And then in summer, I used to say, okay, I will call you once I am back from holidays. And I never called them back because I never felt like it's actually helping me because I was looking for a magic fluency pill, right? So the problem was after, I mean, now thinking this retrospectively, why these therapies, they never worked for me, is because, okay, I knew that the acceptance was always there and everyone was saying, no, you need to accept, you need to also to learn some techniques. But how can you do this if you feel like you are actually different, right? From someone, from everyone else that you know, everyone is different. So it's easy for them, I was thinking, to tell them that they need to accept it, but you don't have this problem. So it is human nature, I think, to try to feel like other people. That's why I felt like that is the reason the speech therapist where I went, it didn't work for me. But then I went to one, I think I was around 34 years old. I am now 44, right? So it was like 10 years ago. That it really worked for me. And it worked mainly because I met hundreds of people like me, which in that particular course, there were actually a lot of people like me. And also, I could practice some techniques or some tools with them with comfort. So I did this during 2 years very intensively on that program. And yes, and this actually changed my life, but mainly changed my life too because I knew other people who started. I practiced with them, and I stopped avoiding and changing words, which is very important too. So yeah, I think that this is what happened, right, across my life until now.
Okay, it feels to me like you've jumped there from kind of teenager to being 34. Is there anything in between that period? You know, perhaps when you were beginning university. I know that we have people using AnyTalk who are at that stage in their journey. Is there anything you can
Yeah,
reflect
and
on from that point?
unfortunately, I wish I would have known what I know now when I was younger. So I didn't have any support or any help. So I really struggled in the university. I could say that I mean, life was a struggle, and I was constantly looking for help. And I tried everything. I even looked for internet different things that I could take. I'm talking about drugs and things like this, right? So I tried everything. And yeah, so as I said, it was not until 34. Yeah, so I could not say that I could give any insight of something useful that I learned during all that time that
Okay.
I do know now, right?
Yeah. So at that point, you had already moved to the UK, correct?
Yeah, yes, yeah. So everything actually, my experience has been in Spain. So I went to many speech therapists in Spain, and I moved to UK in 2007, and I went to this course in 2012, I think it was. So yeah, it was in UK. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and I'm sure there's lots of people as well that have thought about moving countries, perhaps changing jobs and things like that. And that's a big step that can be a real challenge for people. How did you manage that transition from living in Spain and then moving to a new country, a new culture, a new language?
Yeah, that is a good point. So I used to say that I am not achieving what I want to do because I'm a person who stutters. I used to say that actually. But looking back, I don't think that this was true. I did everything that I wanted to do. So stuttering was not stopping me of what I wanted to do. having said that, it was maybe the struggle was harder maybe than other people. We don't know. Everyone is fighting with his own demons, I guess. But yes, I did everything that I wanted. So I don't think that the stuttering stopped me, but that I always has a massive anxiety whenever I had to talk, job interview, changing countries. So that is something that stayed with me all the time. Interestingly enough, and I know that we talk about this, you and I, Ronan, many, many times, I didn't stutter in English as much. And I guess, yeah, sorry, I should have said this. That was the main reason why I moved to UK and I learned English, because I realized that when I talk another language, I didn't stutter as much as in Spanish. And my reason why is because I always felt like stuttering is a habit. And if I will wake up one day and I didn't know who I was, I would not know maybe that I could stutter. I don't know. I had always this thought. But yeah, maybe that is not true. But the point is, yes, speaking English, I didn't stutter. But when I was starting to speak or think in English, like it was almost my second language, I start to stutter in the same level that in Spanish. So yeah, so initially it didn't. So that was the main reason why I've been forced to move to another country. So in a way, it was running away from Spain because of my stuttering, I guess. But then, yeah, so it caught me back.
Okay.
It caught me, yeah.
Interesting. So you escaped, I guess, in a certain sense, from Spain and moved to the UK and found this freedom with your voice. At what point did you begin to think about this idea about technology for people who stutter? Was there a aha moment there for you when something kind of clicked in your head and you thought, I need to try and make something happen?
So yes, so as I said this, when I was in this program, which it really helped me, I realized that it was a very simple program. So it was not rocket science. It was just they showed me a very basic stuff, very basic tools. I knew another people, so it was actually, just to make it simple, it was a PDF of phones where I could call and I could practice with other people about first emotional stuff, but also practicing the techniques, exaggerating those techniques where I could use them there in the real world. So I thought that this was not rocket science. So I thought, I mean, hopefully there is no a speech and language therapist here, right, in this call. But I realized that it's not like you don't need to study a master or you don't need to do a lot of stuff to realize that this is very simple stuff. It's just that you need to do it as a habit. So so yes, I thought that, well, why we cannot build an app that or a system or a tool that can help you to embrace those habits, right? So and also the most important thing is that I realized too that when someone listened to me, I was when we all of us know this. When we are alone, we don't stutter. When we know that someone is going to listen or is listening, we stutter. But when we record, we also stutter because we know that someone is going to listen to us. So I thought, well, maybe just by the single fact that we know that someone is actually recording us. Hence, here we started developing an algorithm that detects your voice on speech rate. So at that moment, your relationship with the way that you talk actually changes, right? So that is the main reason why actually we started focusing on algorithm that detects you speaking, but of course, always was the goal, right? To build a community, that this community, which we have not completed, but I had this idea of that you have hundreds of people that you can talk to. Because I think that the real value that you get from communicating with other people which have the same problems is the one-to-one, right? Group communities is useful, but the one-to-one connection is what actually helped me. I had hundreds of people during the 2 years time that I was in this program, which gave me an amazing value.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people, me included, within the stuttering community have really learned a lot from our experiences spending time with other people who's stutter, and being able to connect and share, experiences and thoughts and all of these type of things. It's a great feeling, and the amount of events that are happening now around the world show that. And I agree. I hope that we can emulate, at least some of that feeling here within BeneTalk as well.
But I think what is important here is that it's very hard going to I'm stuttering and then I to join to a community or to talk with people around that, because in my case I ran away. Whenever I saw someone who stuttered, I ran away. So I didn't want to know anything about stuttering. I had enough with my own pain. I don't want to bear other people's pain. So when I went to this program, if they would have told me that I was going to be in a group of more people like me, I would have never gone. So it was like a bit of forced or surprise. The truth is, I didn't know that. So yeah, this is what I learned too. That what you want to do. So what you think is good for you is not. Right. So what you are actually trying to chase most of the time is actually know what you need to, and this is part of the journey, right? This is part of the whole journey, and going and in a way that is not too difficult, so not too different from people who maybe go to so everyone want to be healthy, right? Everyone want to eat well, everyone want to do exercise, everyone want to do certain things in life, but then life goes in the way and it's so hard to do all these habits and routines. So I guess that this, I mean, without going too much in a loop, but this is the whole point, right, of why I started this app. So there is some basic stuff that is that you need to work in your acceptance, you need to speak more, that can be actually help with a routine or just with an app that encourage you, basically, proactively speaking and expanding your comfort zones, right?
For sure. And your journey with BeneTalk and creating this piece of technology to support people began when? 2017? Around there?
Yeah. So I guess 2016, 2017, of course, things always doesn't start from 0 to 1, right? It was just an idea. Then I had my own work. I am a mechanical engineer by background. So I did this in my spare time, and I applied for grants. And but actually, this, Ronan. So we didn't do anything properly for 1 year. So we started this project properly 1 year and a half ago, right? So
right.
And then when you say that I am the creator, I am not the creator per se. I am the person who had the idea, but you are the creator, and our team is the creator, right? So I just want to share this. Yeah.
Thank you, Jordi. But yeah, you were the one who started everything up and made everything happen at the beginning. And now we're looking at, I guess, approximately 5 years or so that you've been kind of dedicating your time and effort to developing this project. I'm interested to know, during that period, are there any particularly rewarding moments that you've experienced? Is there anything that stands out for you now, looking back over that time?
Well, I mean, I think that we have to separate what is rewarding on the stuttering sense and what is rewarding on the business sense.
Okay.
On the business, so on the business sense, I think that there is not much rewarding at all. I mean, in terms of how hard it is to build something from zero, particularly with the financial help that you need to build software, right? But on the stuttering sense, is very, very rewarding because I feel like I am in a constant. I mean, I guess that I am in the best speech therapy program that I could be, right? Which is you are building something and you speak with a lot of experts in the world about the stuttering. So you learn from everyone who knows about the stuttering. You learn from users, but you also learn from experts. So yeah, so I mean, the journey about from not knowing anything about the stuttering to where I am now. So of course that doesn't have a price. But what is interesting is that it's a journey, right? And every year I think that I know enough about the stuttering. So I say that's it. I think I know everything. But every day, every year, or every day, there is something that changes and some subtleties, so another way to see things. And yes, so I am. I think that this has been a very good experience. And then, of course, as I said, on the business side, it has been a bit of an experience too, a bit of challenge, as you know well, Ronan. But also, this taught me that it's possible to create everything. Everything is possible. The only thing that you need is the determination and time, because of course we always think that we want things to happen now, but the problem is we don't know when this will happen. If we give enough time, I think that you can see it in two ways. Either you have 1 billion in your bank account, or you have enough time. So I think that those are the two ways. But for stuttering, I don't think that you need 1 billion will make you actually move actually faster. So it's time.
Yeah.
So that's why I am actually feeling that is the most important thing. So yeah, so it's about the journey of feeling that I am learning every day, and I am actually helping people too, because I guess I said before, right, about how I felt when I was a child in class, and how I struggle, and it makes me very happy to feel to see that sometimes we have users which we make them not to have the handicaps that we have.
Right.
So that we had that we had, of course. This is actually a very good experience too.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that as part of your role as the CEO and the creator and the founder, you have to do a lot of speaking, and you have to do a lot of public speaking. And I know that that's often an interesting topic for people who stutter, who perhaps find it a bit of a challenge, or it's something they would like to do but aren't too sure about how to get started. I'm just wondering, in your time in this role, are there any public speaking experiences that you had that really stood out for you? Are there any talks that you gave where you kind of felt particularly comfortable, confident? Is there any tips that you could provide to people who are perhaps struggling with that?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, something that I learned also on that program is that the stuttering happens also because we are hiding it, right? So the more that you hide it, the more that it appeared there. So and also that I realized through my own experience is that no one cares about your stuttering at all. What people care is about your faces that you put when you struggle, right? So if you don't struggle and you still show that you stutter, or you speak with stuttering but with less tension, then there is no this loop where the other person gets stressed, right? What I'm trying to say is that if you go to a presentation and you smile and you say to everyone that you're a person who stutters, and you even try to stutter in purpose, even though you don't feel like to do it, but you try a bit to stutter in purpose, so you feel like everyone is watching at you and you're smiling, you're stuttering, and it's nothing happening. Everything that I am just said look like very long and complex, but it can be done in 3 seconds. And I feel like it's the first thing that I did for many years now. Even before I start BeneTalk, when I was working still as a mechanical engineer, I had to do some presentations, and I did this, and actually I think it works wonders. Whenever you have a presentation, don't try to hide the stuttering. Start saying that you're a person who stutters. Even if you are not feel like you are going to stutter, you just stutter, right? For the sake of stuttering, and this makes you to feel better. What is very interesting is that working in BeneTalk, the presentations that I had to give, particularly to investors, it had another component into the mix which I didn't expect, which was the fact that I was selling a product to investors, so not to investors, but to investors giving money. So I was thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't stutter in the call, right? In the call or in the presentation. So that was a bit of the whole thing, right? The way to get free of fear of stuttering is stuttering, but that is too complex to be explained to an investor that you just talk for 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a twist. So I don't want to that people, if someone is hearing this, don't get caught in my last sentence. Think about it is okay to stutter, and in fact, you should stutter in the first sentence or 2 sentences that you do in public.
Yeah. No, that's something that has helped me as well. Anytime that I've had to speak in front of an audience, just to be open about it and let them know that there might be times when I get stuck or I have a block or something, but that's okay, and we will carry on when it's all good. And as you say, I think people are very accepting of that. Once you explain what's happening, I think 99% of people are really happy to provide us with the time that we ask for.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I think it's important that you always try to expand and try to have opportunities, right, to talk in public, because you and I discussed this in Ronan. Remember, you did now two presentations in the last 3-4 months, right? About BeneTalk, and during COVID, right? This didn't happen, right? So we were like, oh my God, we go to the real world again. So it looked like a bit jump, right? So it's good to go back to normal a bit.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to be back on the stage speaking. Yeah, that's for sure. Jordi, you mentioned previously you said during this process you've learned a lot about stuttering. I'm just wondering if there's any specific things that you could highlight there, things that you've learned about stuttering that you found to be particularly impactful or helpful for you.
So I actually knew, right? So I mean, everything. Well, I knew. My point is, I thought that what worked for me worked for everyone, right? So that's why, I mean, when we started this project, I thought in okay, this and this work for me. Okay, let's put it in an app. But then I realized that everyone is different. So it's not everyone is completely different, but not all the techniques work for everyone in the same way. So, so yes, maybe what I realized the most I was when I learned this speech therapy program when I was that I learned all this stuff. They focus a lot in breathing. So that breathing, everything was around the breathing, right? Everything was around the breathing, and it really helped me actually the breathing. But for instance, then what happens is when I start to talk with the speech therapists, I realize that breathing is not the main core of what they do. So when you look deeper, so what happened is, okay, that breathing was useful, and I think it still is, but not as a way that helps you to speak. What happened is breathing is slow you down. You do a lot of breathing, and then on top of that, breathing makes you feel better or more relaxed. Therefore, you actually maybe you feel like you speak with more ease, right? So that was something that it changed me the perspective not long ago. But most importantly is I learn about the every day I learn about the journey, right? So in which moments are we with the journey, right? And everything is a journey. So if we will live, if we will not die, and we will live hundreds of years, I don't think that we need to exist. I mean, BeneTalk will not have to exist, and speech therapists don't have to exist maybe either, because at some point you will learn everything. But because we don't have all the time in the world, what we try to do is squeeze. So try to accelerate this journey. So yes, I guess that what I learned is my journey has been accelerated in ways that I think that I am more wise of how to handle my own speech, because it's about mindfulness. Everything is about mindfulness, right? Everything is about being aware of what you do and what patterns do you activate sometimes in what situations, no? And the more aware that you are about those patterns, I don't want to say control, because you can never have full control about your stuttering, but maybe a bit more control, right? I mean, I think that it's important to know that you control, in brackets, right, stuttering, rather than stuttering control you. So feeling that you will stutter for sure. At this moment, I think that this is the evidence, but there is no problem with the stuttering. Actually, the problem is the fear that you have because of stuttering.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. I'm just conscious of the time. We have just over 20 minutes left. So I have more questions for you, Jordi, but I would like just to let people know in the audience that if they do have a question, I'm more than happy to invite people up to join the conversation, to ask a question or have a chat. So if you would like to say anything, no obligation, of course, but if you would like to, then please just raise your hand and I can bring you up to the stage and we will be able to hear your beautiful voice and we'll be able to hear your question as well. So from this point onwards, I would like to invite people to raise their hand if they would like to say something. But just continuing on with my questions, Jordi. So you say there that if we lived for 200 years, we wouldn't need technology or anything like that to help us because we would be able to learn everything we need to on the journey. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So I'm really interested to know from your perspective, how do you see the future with technology and stuttering? How are you imagining the relationship between those two things to develop over time?
So I think we don't know. That is the short answer. Because I mean, we don't know what can happen, but we have a feeling maybe, right, of what could happen.
Right.
I think that there is two components that has to be are key here, right? And one is acceptance, and the other one is speech techniques or tools, right? So first, you need acceptance. Second, you have to use those techniques, tools, to feel more at ease when you speak. But you cannot use these tools if you don't have full acceptance. So how technology can help on this? This is, Ronan, this is what we do every day. How can we do this better? But when you look at other industries on the health, right? Think about 100 years ago. I don't think that no one thought that it was possible that a smartwatch could detect your heart rate and knows how quickly it goes, right? So we cannot know what biomarkers they will exist in the future where we could detect the acceptance or the confidence that you are developing over time, as well as the techniques that you should be using at a moment, or what techniques work for you or not, right? So yeah, in the ideal world, as they say in business, I think, or I don't know if they say it in other places, but you cannot improve what you don't track. So you need data to improve things. So yeah, I think we don't know what could be in the future. I know that there is, for instance, I have a smartwatch called Halo, which can detect your well, in theory it says that it can detect, although I am not sure if it does it very well, but can detect your confidence on that. So yeah, so I also know that some companies, they use speech to detect problems with the heart. That is very hard to do. I think that depending on your speech, they will know you are going to have a heart attack, right? That looks a bit of 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 science fiction, but yeah. So we know that we want to help people to accept themselves more. We want to help people to connect with people more. We know that we want to help people to speak with more ease, right? I think that technology can help in this combination, and if the best way to motivate someone is by showing progress, right? So that's why there is many programs that what they do is, okay, well, you had a weight of 70, so 80 now, so you have a weight of 70, so you see some progress, right? So if, if, if we have a way to see that my fear have decreased, right, over time, that is progress. That is motivation. If I go back to when I was 20 years old, I remember in my last year of school, in my dissertation for the university, I did a presentation about my project. I could not say a word. I completely blocked there. And I failed, actually. They actually put me, well, I didn't fail. They put me a 5. In Spain, it was 5 means just passed, but no one had a 5, right? But this never happened to me again. So yeah, it would be nice to know, right, over time, how my confidence has been growing, right? Of course, confidence go up and down, but it's like the stock market, right? Stock market always tend to go up in average.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think those points in time that we've been really affected, how you say, at university and things like that, if we can do something that can really help people in those points of their life to feel more comfortable with their speech and comfortable taking these steps to achieve the things that they want to achieve in their life. I think that will be a great thing. And even this here, that we're having this conversation via the app, and we've got people listening in. I know that for me, when I was even in my 20s, I wouldn't have imagined anything like this happening. So when we do stop and look back, I think we can appreciate the type of progress we're making here, and also in the broader community as well, and then outside with the other types of technology that you refer to as well.
Yeah, because I think, we discussed this several times, but the problem is that the adoption of new technologies. So people usually you use a product that it looks like another thing, right? So you don't use a product which is completely different because you don't know even how to use it, right? So Fitbit and all these devices that detects your activity has been out for some years, but it took a while to take off. And now they do this in most of technology. So I think that so I think that there are two components. One is the technology to be ready. The second one is the adoption of people getting used to things. And those are two different things. And so all of them take time.
Right, for sure. Just want to remind people that if they would like to ask a question, then please just raise your hand. We'll be happy to hear you and to try and provide a response. Jordi, you've mentioned a few times now, your younger self, and times from your childhood and when you were a young adult. If you could go back and talk to the Jordi of, I don't know, 15 years old, 12 years old, 20 years old, what advice would you give that person now that you know what you know?
So I will tell him that this shall pass. This is actually an statement that Buddha said too, which is everything will pass, right? Whatever problems you think that you have, this will pass because everything passes. At the same time, it's a journey, right? So don't worry. So you are now in this point of the journey and you're going to finish here. So it's going to take you the whole life and you're going to go with upwards. So thinking, I remember when you were a child, you don't think, how are you going to be in 20 years, right? So it's difficult to think that you are going to get any better or you are going to achieve something, right, in life. So time will pass. The second thing that maybe I will say is that do things that you don't agree with. So, like I said, for instance, before joining to a community or doing things that it seems like counterintuitive, right? So that's why we have to be careful of doing things that we want. Most of the time, the good things that happen to us, not in starting, in everything in life, is that just say yes to everything, right? And not to do things that you think that are the best for you. And then I think it's what I said before. So acceptance is first, and then learning the tools. Because the problem that we have, this is my opinion, is that you learn tools to speak, but you still show that you have something different, right? So, okay, you are not stuttering, but you are using another technique. So, and then you don't want to do that. Why you don't want to do this? Because you have to accept first. So it's useless to learn a tool if you don't accept first. So, and this is an everyday thing. So I could accept today, and I could tell this by experience because this happened to me. So I say, yes, I accept everything. Well, if you are not practicing every day, and my me practicing, I mean showing to people that you're a person who started. To me, that is the practice. So yes, starting in purpose, yes, telling to people that you're a person who started. If you fail to do this for more than a week, then you are going to start seeing the impact after, because it's a habit. You start hiding it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an everyday thing for life. But I mean, I don't do it like I used to do it, because the truth is, I realized that people don't care, right? So sometimes I went to someone, I told them, look, I am a person who started, and people say, yeah, and what? Right? So the thing is, sometimes it's like we are. I mean, I feel like I try to put too much emphasis in stuttering, and I try to do too much ego in myself, so that the person didn't care about that, right? So, but not what I meant is not saying to people that you're a person who started, but stuttering, right? Stuttering
Mm-hmm.
in purpose, and even though you don't feel like to stutter, you just stutter, and then you remind yourself that you're a person who started, which is fine. So I think that, okay, maybe that is not one advice, right? There's several advices I put here,
Right.
but the whole point goes back to hiding it, right? Hiding stuff,
Right.
and
So yeah, trying to. I mean, that's how a lot of us grew up. I think trying to hide this aspect of us, of ourselves, and it's only at the point when we've been able to be a bit more open about it that we've actually begun to feel more comfortable in speaking and meeting people and making friends and things like that. I saw that Rishvan had his hand up. Rishvan, if you'd like to join us, yes, I'll bring you up to the stage. Hey, Rishvan, can we hear you? I think we can. Hey, yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
hello.
Thank you for joining us. What would you like to ask?
Hmm. 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 I mean, did you ask me if what what has influenced my fluency? Yeah, right. Um, that is the trouble. That is the trouble. If you if you focus in fluency, and you are thinking to increase fluency, it it backfires. So it is, in my opinion, that you should not focus in fluency, and fluency happens as a byproduct. So the end goal, the end goal, the very very end goal of the journey is fluency. Okay, so but that is the end goal. But if you are chasing that fluency, it's too far away that you will not achieve it. That is, at least, is my point of view. But it will happen. It will happen as a byproduct. It's like if I ask you now, okay, don't increase your heart rate, keep your heart rate down, right? Well, the more that I tell you to keep your heart rate down, the more it is likely to go up, right? Yeah.
Thank you for that question, Rishvan. Yeah, I've had lots of conversations with Jordi, and as with anyone else who stutters, his and our fluency will change every day. Even from morning to evening, and these things change, right? So, I think Jordi makes a good point that taking a focus away from that and just focusing on the things that he termed practice, which is speaking to people, uttering openly, moving towards acceptance in that way. These are all things that mean that we can join these type of conversations and feel relatively comfortable. I think we've on this call we've had moments where we're not that fluent, but generally we've been feeling comfortable and relaxed, and we are, I think, happy that we're involved in this conversation and having this opportunity to speak. And that's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, because I think that the question is, why are you chasing fluency? And I think that the answer, well, sorry, yeah, give me an answer. Yeah, but I think, yeah, but I think that I mean the question that I ask is why did you chase fluency? But I think that the answer that I think is what I have. This will be me. Will be because I have fear of stuttering, or I don't want people to see me stutter. Right. So it seems like we look that the fluency is the opposite of stuttering. But the truth is, I don't think that is like that. Um, eh, so stuttering is not a problem because the people don't care whether you stutter. People care when you actually cannot communicate, or you put your emotions and your faces or your movements are a bit strange, right? So what I meant with this is that if we think that the problem is so if we see fluency like the two sides of a coin, right? So I think that most of people think that fluency is and stuttering is the two sides of the coin, but I think it's not like that. So stuttering is what we fear and what we want to get rid of. So we chase fluency, but I don't think that is the right approach. The right approach is no, stuttering is something that we should stop being afraid of.
Thank you, Jordi. Thank you, Rishvan, for your question as well. I'm happy to hear your voice again and to hear you here. It's always a pleasure to have you in the room. I'm conscious of the time, Jordi. We have a couple of minutes left. I wonder if there's anything else you'd like to say to the people here before we bring things to a close.
Yeah, so well, I would be interested to know. I mean, of course, now there is no time, no. But maybe you can actually send us an email or write something on the chat later. But yeah, I will have a couple of a couple of questions. One will be uh, how do you balance, no, acceptance versus the use of speech techniques? So. Do you do more acceptance? Do you do more speech techniques? You don't try to do either, right? That is something that we are working on, right? And I would like to know other people's opinions on that. And then the other point that I would like to know is, yeah, so I mean, how scared were you to join a community, or are you still scared? And what is the pivotal moment, that point that this actually changed? Because I saw I talked with a user a few days ago where he told me that he was scared of our app when he downloaded the app because he saw Ronan talking, and then he found this a bit scary, right? So yeah, so I would be interested to know, right? So why the community, at what point is important for you, or if you're scared of this, right? Anyway, two questions, open questions.
Nice. Thank you, Jordi. I think maybe we could also post these questions, ask these questions on the community message board as well. And we can invite people there to offer their responses. So I'd like to just say thank you to everyone who's taken the time to come and listen to us here having this conversation. I hope it's been insightful and interesting. I hope you've enjoyed hearing Jordi's voice and hearing him talk about BeneTalk and the journey that he's been on. Thank you, Jordi, for sharing your time and your words and your thoughts. And we might have to bring you back for part 2.